I have literally been waiting 2 years for this moment. Hey y'all, my name is Kanisha and I'm a first-time home buyer that's transforming my first home one DIY project at a time. So come along with me as I transform my guest bedroom. First up is removing the popcorn ceiling. So I'm going to go ahead and say, because I'm sure someone's going to ask down in the comments, but I did not test for asbestos because my home was built in 1990. But if you do have an older home, I would highly recommend testing for asbestos. For those of you that do have an older home, I am going to leave an asbestos testing kit down below in the description. Okay, so let's get into the popcorn removal. I did put plastic down just to help with the cleanup, but I'm not really worried about the carpet because I am going to remove the carpet and then install LVP later on. After putting down the plastic, I then went in with a 1-gallon multi-purpose sprayer, filled it with some water, and then saturated the ceiling. That way I could easily scrape off the popcorn with a 10-inch taping knife. After spraying down your ceilings, you want to wait about 15 to 20 minutes before you attempt to scrape off your popcorn. Now, as you can see, I was really nervous when I first attempted to get the popcorn off of the ceiling, but you do want to use a little bit of force, but go at an angle so that way you're not digging into the drywall and you're just scraping off the popcorn. If you get to an area where the popcorn isn't easily coming off, then you might want to go back, spray down with water again, wait 15 to 20 more minutes, and then try again. It took me a second to kind of get used to things, but right here is where I start to have those satisfying drops and I'm able to work a little bit faster. I did take a break, but it took me about 2 hours to remove the ceiling from the room. So here's what things will look like once you remove the popcorn. You'll be able to see the ceiling drywall as well as the drywall seams. There are a lot of imperfections that I'm going to need to fix, but before I get into any of that, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning first. I started off by attempting to use a pole sander, but really quickly I realized that that wasn't going to work. I felt like I just wasn't able to get the pole sander to consistently go back and forth on the ceiling, and I was just raking in one direction, which really wasn't going to do much of anything. Then I attempted to get on the ladder to see if that would make a difference, but it didn't. So I ended up using my sheet sander, or you could use an orbital sander. Now, clearly at this very moment, I didn't know what I was getting into because I seemed somewhat excited. But y'all, by the time I finished sanding the ceiling, I was exhausted. Doing overhead work, it's hard enough, but just literally having to hold that sander against the ceiling in that back and forth movement, your girl was tired. Now, I have seen ceiling sanders that would possibly make this job easier, but I also didn't want to spend that money right now and just try to go with what I already had. I'm not even going to lie to you, this definitely was the most difficult part about this project, so I'm just going to go ahead and push through. So here I am finally finished with my first sanding, and y'all, there was dust everywhere. On me, on my clothing, downstairs, upstairs, there was dust everywhere. Okay, I look crazy, so ignore that, but I wanted to jump on here real quick and give y'all a little update. So I went in with some joint compound to go over the screw holes and then also any imperfections that I saw while I was up there. And so based on what I saw, I just went ahead and did joint compound around the entire rim of the wall, so that way you're not seeing the old paper that used to be there, and it's not like the wall line and then the drywall paper line. I did want to show y'all the consistency of my joint compound. When I first started, I don't think I was adding enough water. So hopefully y'all can see this. But this is what you want your joint compound to look like, your consistency. So if you think you have enough water, I probably add just a tad bit more. After filling in those imperfections with the joint compound, you have to go back in and sand everything smooth. So we are back with day 3 of the guest bedroom transformation. And it feels like we haven't made any progress, but really we have. So at this point, the only thing left to do to the ceiling is to prime and paint, which I hope to, I'm going to get the priming done today. Not quite sure if the painting will get done today, but here is what we look like. Oh, and I'm going to take the ceiling fan down today. I'm really excited to get rid of this ceiling fan, y'all. I absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate it. So take the ceiling fan down, prime, hopefully paint, and then we can start on everything else. Today will be a lot of cleanup because as you can see, it is truly a mess in here. Now that everything's all cleaned up, it is time to prime and paint the ceiling, finally. So I did change the direction that I was painting in because I have now learned that you want to paint in the direction that the sun enters the room if you have windows and you're painting a ceiling. So I'm at the point in the day where I am literally exhausted. But I'm going to keep going because I'm trying to get as much as I can get done today. But in amazing news, the ceiling is finished. So I'm waiting on it to dry, really hoping that I'm just going to run the sander over it one last time and that I don't see anything crazy because I am not trying to paint the ceiling again. So fingers crossed that the ceiling is done minus one final sanding, and so we're just going to keep on rolling with this project. So I'm so excited about how everything has turned out so far, y'all. The ceiling looks amazing, but there's still so much to be done in this room. We have to get rid of this god awful ugly yellow paint that was done horribly, remove the carpet, install the new flooring, build some shelves in the closet, and then style everything. So make sure you're subscribed for part 2 of this guest bedroom makeover.